Most truck drivers think that starting up a trucking business is just buying a truck and then buying another one and then another one and then another one with no strategy. And that can't be further from the truth. It starts with structure. And in this video here today, I'm going to break down the 5-step CDL to CEO blueprint. Step number one is foundation, right? And it's more than just an LLC and an EIN number. You really need to make sure that you set the right foundation for your business to grow and prosper. And it starts with the structure of your business, how you set it up, how you make it verifiable, how you optimize your business and your portfolio, everything that comes together for you to have a strong business to go out there and get access to different resources, different avenues, and different opportunities for you and your business. Step two is funding, right? If you're going out there and you're starting a business, right, just like any business, trucking is no exception. You need capital to back you up, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 12 months, maybe it's 18 months of you to actually cash flow this business before you're in the net positive, before you're actually making profit. And this is a system that generates income for you month over month. You need to invest first, right? You need to strongly be bullish on your business and make sure that you have enough capital to back you up. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is that new drivers get in, they save up 10, 20, $30,000, then they go in and they scrape the barrel to start their trucking business, leaving them vulnerable for a breakdown, for a maintenance repair, or anything to happen for them to just get knocked out of the game, right? For them to lose their truck, for them to go back and having to reset and being a driver. You need to be financially prepared, and having OPM, right? Having access to business funding, business capital, and different type of products that allow you to grow your business and scale is going to give you an unfair advantage with the competition, right? You want to make sure that you grow and scale, then you need to have capital to back you up. It's not enough to be truck rich and cash poor and you scraping that barrel just because you're trying to get started. You want to make sure that you put everything in place, right? Get access to the capital that's going to allow you to give you breather, it's going to give you peace of mind, and it's going to allow you to be more successful. Step number three is equipment. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is drivers go out there and they buy the first truck that catches their eye, right? It's pretty in the outside, but it's a nightmare under the hood. A lot of times when you're buying this truck, this is going to be one of the biggest investments that you make outside of your house, right? So you want to make it wisely, right? Just like when you buy property, you get an inspector to go and look at the house, right? And you get them to evaluate that property before you purchase it. You want to do the same with your equipment, right? Whether it's 40, 50, 60, $100,000 that you're spending on this truck, you want to make sure that you can get a professional third party to come in and do a full computer diagnosis on this truck, right? While you take it on the road, do a walk around inspection, do a test drive, and make sure that you're properly vetting out your investment. This is key number one because you want to make sure when you buy this truck, you can hit the ground running. You want to avoid all of the headaches that comes with maintenance repairs as much as possible, right? There's no running from it, but you can mitigate it as much as possible by just doing a thorough inspection in the beginning. Step number four is the contract, right? So whether you're doing it under your own authority or you're leasing on to somebody else's own authority, you want to make sure that you have work lined up. And a lot of time this calls for market research, this calls for networking, reaching out to people, making phone calls, building real relationships because this is a business. So you need to build strong relationships for your business to thrive so you can have something to go to so you can make sure you can start generating income. I use a go-to-market strategy where when every time I buy an equipment, I lease it on with trusted carriers that have dedicated work. That's right. So I'm not using it under my authority. I leverage somebody else's authority. I buy the equipment, I place it with the driver, and I get a cash flow. And as a fleet owner, that is my go-to-market strategy. So whether you're starting off with an authority or you're thinking about having a go-to-market strategy and leasing onto another established carrier's authority, either avenue, you want to make sure that you can line up consistent work, right? Something that's going to be high income producing, something that your driver is going to like, something that brings in money, something that makes sense, right? This is the part of the formula that you really have to plug and play. So you want to make sure that you have something lined up as far as work goes, right? What sector of trucking are you in? Are you in flatbed? Are you in car hauling? Are you in special minerals? Are you in drive-in? Are you in reefer? Right? What sector of trucking are you in? Once you decide that, you want to look for carriers or look for work in that sector that's going to allow you to get in and hit the ground running. And number five is the driver. You want to make sure that you have a good driver. I call this the captain of the ship. Now, once you have all of this in place and your driver feels safe, he's comfortable, he likes his schedule, and he's making money, well, you have the lethal four formula that I call that allows for driver retention, right? Driver retention is really short in this industry. They'll leave, they'll come, they'll leave, they'll go. So you need to have the proper conditions set up for you to have a long lasting driver to allow you to run and grow your business properly. But this calls for the right conditions, right? The driver wants to make sure that they're making money. They want to make sure they like their schedule. They want to make sure that they're comfortable and they feel safe, right? They're not riding around with all those check engine lights. They're not riding around with a busted truck. You want to give them the conditions that they need so they can stick around and forget about it. They'll never be on the job board looking for another job because they're happy where they're at. Now, once you have all of this five in place, right? You have the right structure for your business, right? You have the funding to back you up for your business. You have some good equipment. You have a great route lined up and you have a good driver. This is the time where you can start optimizing your numbers, making sure that your overheads and your income outweighs your overhead. Right now you have a system that you can rinse and repeat, right? It ain't till you get to that point where you lock in that driver, right? And the driver's running, the driver's making money, right? When I'm working with a client, I call it like pushing one ship into the ocean at a time. You want to make sure the funding is there to back up that ship. The ship is there. It's the great equipment. You got a good route for it and you got a good captain for that ship, right? So everything can flow. And once you lock in this formula, right? Once you fully execute on the funding, the truck, the route, the driver, once you fully execute on that, it's just a rinse and repeat process. But it all starts with structure. If you don't have a structure, chances are you're not going to be able to go out there and get the funding that you need. Chances are you're not going to buy the equipment that's going to allow you to hit the ground running. And chances are less carriers are going to work with you because maybe you don't got great equipment. Maybe you don't have your business all together, or maybe there's a million scenarios that can come. It's going to just limit your options. It's going to limit the things that you're available to. So you want to make sure that you have everything in place and then rinse and repeat this process over and over and over. And then you can grow as a fleet owner, right? This formula right here allows you to lower the risk and increase the reward. Remember, I told you I'm not riding under my authority. I'm driving under somebody else's authority, right? I'm not trying to take on that high cargo insurance, that high cargo down payment, activating the authority. This is my strategy. I'm going straight to market. I'm buying good equipment and I'm lining up with top tiers, dedicated route carriers, right? That's what you want to do. So if you want to go to market strategy, if you want to learn more about the 5-step formula from the CDL to CEO blueprint, then click on the link below, guys. I'm gonna invite you to my free trucking workshop. It's a masterclass, guys, where you're gonna learn about the 5-step blueprint that's gonna allow you to start your business and hit the ground running. All right, guys, click on the link. It's down below in the description, and I'll see you in the masterclass.